dilemma, no? When we speak about acceptance, that we have to wait for the child to be 18 years of age and then accept the child. You know, because that's when the child will be able to make up their minds. But there are some children who have grown up with queer uncles and queer aunties. Alpana's son definitely has.
Yes.
And he had written this very famous composition in his school.
Yeah, so actually our kids went to the same school, Bombay International School. So my son had written, who do you respect the most? So he had written that I respect my mom the most because she taught me to respect gay people and accept the difference. And then, you know, I clicked the picture and I sent it to Shruta. My son was in grade 6 or something. And Shruta shared it in the community and it went viral on Reddit, you know. So, yes, so my son is the one who has Vivek uncle, Sunil uncle and whole lot of aunties and uncles from the community, you know. And I think
I think it really starts at that age. Do you all agree? I mean, you can't really wait for everything to happen and then educate your child. By the time the child has already gone through struggles and struggles and struggles already, right? So I think that becomes extreme. How many of the children over here would have been much better if there was better understanding at a very young age? Do you all? How many of you? I think that it would have been much better if there was understanding at a much younger age. How many of us acknowledge? Children over here acknowledge that our parents go through a struggle as well when it comes to acceptance, right? It's not that black and white ki bol diya, it's not Jamal Gota ki bol diya or Nicola, you know, it doesn't happen that way, right? So it does take time, it's layered. We have a parent over here who has come to KASHISH for the first time and from Gurgaon. So we have, and usually you speak about mothers, you don't see parents, mein father ko missing figure hota hai, but we have parents over here who are male parents, okay, over here. So, am I putting you on the spot? Are you feeling embarrassed? Okay. If you're comfortable to answer, Uncle, if you can just speak about your journey of acceptance. We'll not speak about them, we'll speak about you, okay, because we are witnesses now.
Took time, as he says, it takes time, it's not black and white. It took me about 3 to 4 years. Initially it was a big shock, and then slowly you started understanding, you started reading about these things. Because before that there was no information and no awareness, but now it's easy now. And after coming here, I've seen such a different aspect, so many intellectuals, so many different kind of people, so it's really nice.
Good. All the way from Gurgaon, just to experience. Oh, sorry, Uncle, what's your name?
Vikram.
Huh? Vikram. And you are?
Tanmay.
Tanmay's pet. Yeah. So, so that's one of the. How do you feel, Tanmay? About your parents accepting, and what struggles did you go through in the interim?
So there have been a few struggles with. Can I just wait till this is done? Okay. Yeah, there have been a few struggles with coming out as a concept, because I think they had some inklings to the fact that I don't conform to heterosexuality. But then it was a process to actually bring it to them one piece of information at a time, because I was also going through my own understanding of myself and how I don't fit into the norm that has been created by some parts of society. And while I was struggling with that in my school and college and places around me basically, I was also trying to bring the information to them one step at a time. So that was both a struggle, but I'm also very happy that Dad is here with me.
Acceptance becomes so important. I'll tell you my own personal struggle when I was going through crises in my life. Till the time that my mother just came about accepting me, I couldn't even fathom that I would stand in front of an audience and speak. You know, I used to feel scared to even look up and say my own name. I used to be that, and because I'm talking about 20 years before, when the struggle was very different. The canvas was very different. We still had activists, but we didn't have media like this, and that's why it becomes so important for us, even within the community, to respect our elders. You might disagree with them, with them. You might not agree with their views, but it becomes. But I have been a product because there were a lot of activists before me who had done that and created that podium. So that's why it becomes important. There's one parent who's not here at the moment. You have 𝙆𝙼𝙎𝙃𝙃, who is one of the people from Sweekar parents who's there. Her son 𝙆𝙼𝙎𝙃 has instituted an award in KASHISH under his name. He's no more with us, but there's another son, 𝙼𝙎𝙃, who also happens to be from the community. And this is and these they must be in their 50s now. So the parents at that time, he'll be turning 60. So the parents at that time have accepted them. So I think it's also for us to use these forums to acknowledge that there were times when it was not so easy. There were not so many conversations about LGBT issues. Everything was clandestine and hidden. I remember as a part of queer history, 𝘍𝙬𝙬𝙀 from the 𝙆𝙬𝙎𝙃 Trust used to have programs in the basement of places, and in the 20th page in some corner there used to be an article that used to be written. Bombay Dost was an anonymous pen pal session, so people forget about speaking about different forms of genders and different forms of sexualities. Even to basically love somebody which is not the norm according to them was a struggle. So there have been acceptance, and Nicola and Raga especially, your acceptance is of another kind. We have a different story altogether. We're just coming out of queer parivar. Raga and Nicola's children have actually experienced queer parivar. Okay? So Raga, can you just throw some light on what your queer parivar is all about?
Sure, you're talking, Harish was talking about a time in the past, and I think I belong to that time. And we talked about acceptance. What we forget is that we talk about acceptance from others. We don't talk about acceptance from self. So for me, accepting that I was queer in a world which had no information was very difficult. So I was married to a man. We have children from that marriage who are now 24. And it was only later when I separated, I realized that I had to live my truth. And which was very difficult. I was in New Zealand those days. So coming from India, divorce those days 20 years ago was a taboo, and it was the woman's fault. So you have to live through that, you have to navigate through that. And then I started dating women. And even in New Zealand, the Indian community there, sadly, it was the Indian community that spat at me, abused me. I mean, I had, let's say, the most traumatic time. And when my mother got to know about it, and I think that's what you're referring to, if you've read my book, Untold Lies, you know that when my mother got to know, she attempted to kill me, to knife me. And now this 20 years ago, even now it sounds horrific, but 20 years ago, I didn't know what to do. And no support in a foreign country, it was very difficult. But I knew I had to live my truth, because otherwise I wasn't going to be a good mother. It had to start with self. It took me a long time and a lot of courage to accept myself. So I never held it against my mother, because if I didn't know who I was, how would she even know who I was, and how would she even understand the challenges of the journey? Because she had never understood. I mean, the word gay or lesbian didn't exist in our time, right? Sorry, there was only homo, and that was not a, and that was not, no Google. So if you went to the library in India, I'm telling you, there was nothing. You couldn't find anything. There was nothing, no information, no cinema showed us like we were some jokers. So I was ashamed to be queer, I'm sorry, at that time, because I thought they were going to stone me, So anyway, so I eventually met Nicola. Nicola and I have been together now for 15 years. We raised our twins together, who are, like I said, we have twins who are now 24. They've been raised by two mothers. They are as functional and as dysfunctional as any other.
Have you made them gay? Because see, I heard that they become gay.
Become what they want to become.
Yeah, we took them to the zoo and one came back as a giraffe.
Oh, did I was kidding, by the way. Please don't quote me as if I was saying this seriously.
I'd like to actually share some words of wisdom from our 24-year-old daughter. we were looking through her Facebook one day, or she put a picture up of a childhood friend that she had, and his name was Kiran, and he was all dressed very flamboyant. So Raga said, "Oh, has Kiran come out as gay?" And she turned around and said, "He's just Kiran, he's just being himself, why do you have to label everything?" I thought, oh, you know, and those words of wisdom for that. So I think I would like to see the society get to that point. It's like, he's just Kiran, or he's this or that person, it's just, they're just, you know.
Exactly. I firmly believe that the whole purpose of activism is to not be the activist for the same cause 10 years later. Is to become invalid completely.
Yeah, I agree.
We shouldn't be having these discussions at all because it should be so accepted. But we will be having these discussions because it will not be so accepted. That's also we know.
Harish,
Right?
I'm sorry, I'm going to add something just for the benefit. So it's, while the journey is
No, I was
challenging,
just going to come.
sorry, and it has been difficult, it has been worth it.
Yeah.
That's all I say. I came out, I'm going to tell you my age anyway. I came out at 50, and I tell everyone, I hope no one has to wait that long to come out publicly. Because I'm proud of having a partner like Nicola, I'm proud of my children, our children, and I'm proud of the person that I have become, thanks to the challenges I faced. And Nicola and I are getting married in August. So we are in London, but part of our journey is now to fight for marriage rights for all of us. And that is something that, in India, and that is something that we're going to be, doing. And that's one of the reasons I decided, okay, we're married. So thank you.
So how did your children react to?
See, this is very interesting. I get asked a lot that
Yeah.
how did you come out to your children?
Yeah, because people would be curious about that.
So my children were very little when I started dating women. For them, this is the best. This is what they know. That's their world. That's their normal world, which is normal. They have a dad and they have 2 moms. Their dad lives in India, and they are proud of it. They absolutely love us. They do not. I pretend to tell them that I always ask them, "You love this mama more, right? Because you came from my tummy." And they say, "No, we love you both equally." I can't bribe them enough. And as I say, Harish, our children have won a lottery. They have now 3 parents who love them unconditionally. So I would love for our lives to be, and I'm so proud of you really, that you have, it's like I acknowledge that.
So I should share a small anecdote. I had now she is older, but a 7-year-old niece. Her name is 𝙆𝙼𝙆𝙆. And when I got her introduced to, so I was to tell her that, you know, I'm dating someone and I want to bring him home. And and she was drawing this. She had this drawing competition. So she had to draw a family, and she wanted to draw a family, and everyone was drawing mummy, papa, and everybody. So she drew herself. She drew 2 men holding both her hands, and then from her hand there was this small, very shabbily drawn though, pride flag, okay, which had some weird colors, but it was the pride flag because she said it was the pride flag. And she labeled me as Harish Mama, okay, and she labeled Yash as boy mommy, okay. So it was boy mommy for the person. So it doesn't really matter for her. I think children are taught prejudice, okay. So she didn't learn prejudice at all for her to unlearn anything. So I think it becomes very important for us, and especially in different, now that we're speaking about different countries, we always have this progressive views about we have this idea that India se bhag jayenge to sab acha ho jayega, okay. But there is a struggle in every country, and there are countries which have been working really, really hard to ensure, because you can never rest on your laurels, and that's what happened after the Delhi High Court verdict. We had a positive verdict on July 2nd, 2009, and where the Delhi High Court said that what adults do in the confines of the bedroom is not our concern. They're free to do that. I mean, if I was to put a synopsis of the entire thing, that's what they said. The law is not going to interfere because it's about fundamental rights enshrined in our constitution. And because it was the constitution that was referred to, it was considered legal, not just in Delhi, but everywhere in the country. But then, and then there were pride marches, we came out, this thing, and then suddenly we had another verdict in 2013, which said that that the court, what the court has decided is invalid and the parliament is going to decide. And so it simply made us go back into the closet. So we came out with various slogans. No going back was one of our slogans, and we fought, and one of the prime people who fought these fights with us on the forefront were Sweekar parents. So I should also acknowledge that even before Sweekar parents, there were parents from the different groups. Okay, just when you give it a name, it gets easier to organize. It doesn't really mean that this group of parents is better than that group of parents or anything of that kind. So we had the Gay Bombay Parents Group, which used to organize every 6 months or every year. They used to organize one event where all parents used to come together and they used to discuss about love and longing and belonging to your family. So that was a regular thing, and you know, accepting, and you know, previously when I was coming out, I didn't know of many lesbians who were out. I used to really think that all of homosexuality, because women go through double the amount of discrimination. One, because of their gender; second, because of their sexuality, and if you are belong to the trans spectrum, then you go through another level of this thing. So one of the things that we want to do over here is build this diaspora of parents, and you have Sweekar parents. You heard somebody from somebody who is speaking about London, and who had the experience of being. It's not easy to be queer anywhere in the world. Okay, you might have the laws supporting you, but a struggle is a struggle for anybody, because your family units are the same. But there is also a parent, and this panel has been supported by the Consulate of Canada, and we have somebody whose son is in Canada at the moment. We have Arundhati, Arundhati aunty, who has been a part of the Sweekar parents group right from the beginning, and you know, there are a lot of struggles when it comes to going to these. I mean, it's not just a decision ke flight liya. I hear this often with queer people, okay, that I'll go to another country and things would get easier. Things will get easier, okay, things will get more distinct, but there are these things. There is a struggle. Not everything is streamlined till now, but Canada is one of those few countries where things are much streamlined. You have, can we hear it for the Prime Minister of Canada?
Yes.
So we have. So I wanted to know from you, Auntie, what exactly has been your experience?
Can I read out something?
Yes, sure.
Because I am Arundhati, my son is Dev, and currently he is in
Montreal.
Is in Vancouver. I'm sure if he was here, he would say, "Oh God, again she has come with a notebook." So yes, I belong to that era. Where I prefer, writing, cutting, and rewriting and doing things.
Yeah.
And somehow I feel the laptop is a machine. It's not my work. The machine is doing the work. Anyway, so I stand. माँ, मुझे कुछ कहना है. So I'll be speaking in English and Hindi. क्या हुआ? सुबह से तुमने चौथा कप कॉफी पी है. परेशान नजर आ रहे हो. सेमेस्टर रिजल्ट आने वाला है. माँ, तुमसे कुछ कहना है. समझ गई. फिर से कॉलेज वालों ने बुलाया है. अटेंडेंस प्रॉब्लम है. समझ में नहीं आता. फीस भरते हो एमटेक कोर्स के लिए, कॉलेज में दाखिला लिए हो. पता नहीं आखिर तुम्हें क्या हो गया है तो तुम जाना ही चाहते नहीं हो. सिर्फ 6 महीनों की ही तो बात है. मन लगाकर कोर्स कंप्लीट कर लो, फिर जो जी में आए करना. ये कॉफी वॉफी पीने से कुछ नहीं, किसी समस्या का हल नहीं है. जाके तैयार हो, मैं नाश्ता परोसती हूँ. बैग में टिफिन डब्बा जरूर रख लेना. माँ, तुमसे कुछ कहना है. मेरे पास बैठो ना प्लीज. बोलो, क्या कहना चाहते हो? जल्दी बोलो, सुबह सुबह बहुत काम निपटाने होते हैं. माँ, आज से मैं कॉलेज नहीं जाऊंगा, मैंने कोर्स क्विट कर ली है। पता भी है तुम्हें, तुम क्या कह रहे हो, मती मारी गई है। पापा ने कोर्स फीस भरा है, उनको मैं क्या जवाब दूं? जाओ उठो, तैयार हो जाओ कॉलेज जाने के लिए। सुबह सुबह ये रोनी चेहरा मुझे बिल्कुल पसंद नहीं आती। कब तक तुम्हें कॉलेज वालों से और पापा से मैं बचाते रहूंगी? जाओ, मुझे इन झमेलों में मत घसीटो। जाओ, जाके कॉलेज के लिए तैयार हो जाओ। माँ, तुमसे कुछ कहना है। क्या सेमेस्टर रिजल्ट आ गया है? केटी आया है? ध्यान से पढ़ोगे नहीं तो यही तो होने वाला था। उठो, जाओ, तैयार हो जाओ, बहुत काम पड़े हैं। माँ, 1 मिनट के लिए और बैठ जाओ ना मेरे पास, कुछ कहना है। तुम्हारे फिजूल बातें सुनने के लिए मेरे पास टाइम नहीं है। माँ, मुझे कुछ कहना है। और क्या कहना बाकी है? पढ़ाई नहीं करनी है, कॉलेज नहीं जाना है, डिग्री नहीं चाहिए, आखिर तुम क्या करना चाहते हो बताओ। माँ, मैं घर छोड़कर जा रहा हूँ, बताओ। हाँ, मुझे घर छोड़कर जाते हो, समझती हूँ। अगर मैं ये कहूँगी तो ये एक अंडर एस्टिमेट होगा। मैं जानती हूँ अब तुम मुझे लेक्चर दोगे और टॉपिक रहेगा माई लाइफ, माई चॉइसेस, माई स्पेस, माई इंडिपेंडेंस। अपने पैरों पर खड़े हो जाओ, फिर जो जी में आए करना। मैं कुछ रोकूंगी टोकूंगी नहीं तुम्हें। जाओ, जाके कॉलेज जाने के लिए तैयार हो जाओ। सुना ना माँ, कुछ कहना है। अब क्या बाकी है? मैं घर छोड़कर जा रहा हूँ, मुझे एक नौकरी मिल गई है, रहने का ठिकाना भी बंदोबस्त हो गया है। कल महीना का आखिरी दिन है, कल मैं घर शिफ्ट कर रहा हूँ। समझ में भी आता है क्या बोल रहे हो? कल 1 अप्रैल नहीं है। अगर ये प्रैंक करना है और किसी से जाकर करो, मैं तुम्हारे इन बातों की झांसों में नहीं आने वाली हूँ। माँ, आई एम सीरियस। आई एम शिफ्टिंग टुमारो। I start working on my new job from 1st June. What? You're really serious? What salary are they giving you? Where are you going to stay? Come clean. Well, my salary is going to be XX. Yes, I'm withholding the information. My salary is going to be XXX and I am going to stay in an X place. Are you sure you can survive with the salary and live in that rented house? Yes, I have nothing to say except that give yourself a little more time. It's just 6 more months. Write the final exam and do whatever you want to do. And I am dead sure that the salary that you will get with the MTech degree will be 4 times what the present employees are offering you. It helps you to live a better life. Ma, it's all about my life, my choices, my independence, my space, my lifestyle. Okay, I need to say something more. What? I am gay. It's not a news to me. She smiles and says, it's not a news to me. Even without introducing your partner to the rest of the when he came to my house and stayed over, I understood. माँ सब समझती है, कुछ बोलती नहीं है। As a mother, I still can't relate to the 2 things: you being gay and you leaving your studies. This is just not done. You can call me my thinking old-fashioned, but remember, one day you will realize that a specialized degree has so much more value in this cutthroat market, job market. Mark my words. जिंदगी की दोपहरिया की दहलीज पर खड़ी हूँ, ऐसे ही मेरे बाल सफेद नहीं हुए। माँ, मुझे कुछ कहना है। Yes, son, you have the last word. I am gay I have my life, I have my choices, I need my space, I need my independence, and I have a job. I am financially secure. हंसकर सिर पर हाथ फेरते हुए बोली, well son, the ball is in your court. Play your game and be a winner of the championship of life. In 2018, he participated in Mr. Gay World, was adjudged the popular, and she was one of the judges. He was adjudged as the second runner-up and received the Popular Choice Award. Sure, since then there has been no looking back. The journey ahead was full of hurdles, like any cisgender, binary person in the binary heteronormative society. It had relationships, breakups, mental health issues, but he looked forward, he went ahead, and how? With his self-belief. Yes, he worked, there are safe spaces. He worked for 6 years in India in different companies, but then there came a stagnation point, and then he remembered his mother. Beta, you need a specialized degree. So yes, slowly that frustration was coming up where he was stuck in at a particular level. So then he decided, yes, now I go to Canada to do my higher studies. Today when I speak to him, I see a 360 degrees change in his body language, his attitude, his vocabulary, and I'll tell you why that has happened. Because this is the reason. I shooted him some questions and he answered. Why did you choose Canada? I felt it was a good opportunity to upskill myself for a better future. Why Canada over other countries? Better standard of living for individuals belonging to the queer spectrum, less language barrier, quality of education very good, better job opportunities as compared to India. Other countries other than India, which you were considering? Well, New Zealand and Australia are good options, but immigration process is complicated and keeps changing. Out of 3, Canada seems to be the best option. Student visa, as a student's point of view, the fee structure. The university I selected gave me scholarship, and I was doing part-time job. I'm doing part-time job enough to manage my day-to-day expenses. How accommodative is the college atmosphere with the international queer students? Very nice. I don't feel conscious. No one assumes I am supposed to fit in a particular box. Are there any cultural barriers, or is the Canadian society warm and welcoming to the international students? There is very less cultural barrier, especially because I have learnt English as my first language. People who do not have good command over English face some communication problems. So in British Columbia, English is very popular, whereas in Quebec it is French. Is there any discrimination that comes in race or color? No, not that I have experienced. Vancouver is extremely multicultural, so is my college. Why would a student or a highly qualified queer individual like to immigrate to Canada? Can you say something about laws and human rights? Yes, more acceptance, more on human rights that a queer person needs, just like any cisgender person enjoys in a heteronormative binary society's cultural environment. I just feel more accepted. We can use really complicated terms, but a lot of people don't understand them. It is only about acceptance or beyond acceptance. If a queer person is in a relationship with a same-sex partner, why would they immigrate to Canada? Because they do not have to give an explanation every time. Explanation for what? Explanation for choices. One can be married, not married. Not married and have children. Not have children, dress differently. There's very less judgment. This is what I was looking for. Thanks. Enjoy your day, whichever part of the day that is in Canada.
Thank you. I think it becomes very important for us, we all hope that one day we have several laws that change in our country, rather not change but get upgraded. There are several laws, I hate to use the word gender neutral, I want to say gender inclusive of all genders, because if you're neutral about something. You need to be gender inclusive about every gender that is possible. All our laws, even within, like our laws are not very different from like when I worked with Axis Bank and when we were changing the policies in the bank, we realized that everywhere that he and she was written, we just had to do a Control F and turn it to they. That was all that was needed. We didn't have to do any fancy work. We just had to this thing. So that's all that needs to be done. When the rape law, after 𝙆𝙼𝙎𝙃𝙃 tragic incident, when there was a law that was supposed to be changed, many parents rallied and said that change the word woman to a person, okay, and it would get valid for everybody, So that's what needed to be done. But still we have a long time to go. Section 377 has been read down. It has not been eradicated as many people this thing, so that it could be used in these cases. It's been decriminalized. I mean, sexuality, consensual sex between adults has been decriminalized. Okay, homosexuality has not been decriminalized. Homosexuality was never a crime. The act of having sex was a crime. But still we have a lot of laws to change in our country, and the support of parents is incredibly important in something like this, because it builds a human story. It just makes a structure, makes a lot, and Canada has been a beacon of hope over there, where you have the chief of the country rallying behind LGBT rights, whether it's not just Canada, even when it comes to Jacinda Ardern, I think the way she has changed the laws of the country when it comes to gun laws, how she has the tribal community as a part. Sweden, I think it's very important. Sweden, Germany, Australia, Canada, all of them. Okay, and India is also going to be there in that map, and we are going to be used as an example someday for various things. Okay. It's a matter of time. It's a matter of time, and it's not a matter of chance, but it's a matter of time that things would change, and the support of our parents become extremely important. Before we open it for some questions that you may have, I'd also like to introduce Aruna Auntie. So she has been a Sweekar parent, one of the founders of one of the co-founders of Sweekar, the Rainbow Parent. So she has been in the forefront. Very shortly, Auntie, because you have so many tales to say we'll have the whole day to spend over here. If there are one or two examples of your interventions that you can share, of how you intervened, how there were struggles, कोई struggle था और आपने कैसे intervene किया, और कैसे parents का intervention कितना important होता है, उसके बारे में अगर आप बात कर सकें.
So the first thing many years back was lesbian couple, like we were there in acceptance meet, and there we were told to give our introduction and our story. So when we shared our story, so this couple reached out, and this couple was one of the person out of that lesbian girl was thrown out of the house because she's lesbian, and parents never accepted her, and she was living in her partner's house. So she asked me, my mother especially will not speak over the phone, so can you come to my house? So I went to their house, and that day I had called him and I said that this is what I went there, and after going there and after the discussion. So it was difficult, yes.
because many parents talk about religion first. Our religion says that this is not allowed and this is not accepted, this is a sin and all that. And there was huge discussion, almost 1.5 hours, and there were parents, their father, mother, brother, everybody was there, and I was only speaking to mother. So it went smoothly. Started like in the beginning she was not ready to even speak, but after that it went smooth.
Where are the couple now?
The end conversation is that they accepted, okay, and she was allowed to be entered in the house. And after that it became that so after a few years, the other girl, she realized that she is wrongly trapped into the female body, wrong body, and she transitioned to trans man, and that is how it became, and both families accepted, of course, and one became trans man, so legally man and a woman. So that then in 2019, legally they could get married. They married. And now they shifted to, where I'm living, I'm in Vasai, so they are living there. They got their own house, as their name, and they are going to have, through surrogacy, they are going to have child. And the one who never accepted, that girl has started her own bakery also. Okay, so they are happily living, and when they got married, of course I was invited, and the whole, girl side, boy side, and everything. That is one. Second is, in 2020, there was one gay boy from Tamil Nadu, and joint family, lives with joint family, and he reached out when very loving family, but when he came out as gay, they started suddenly, they took him to one Baba, and that Baba gave some powder and some exercise, to do some yoga exercise or something, So then he became suddenly, because of that powder, and he became like a, quiet boy, and otherwise he was a charming boy. And then he was searching for to get support. Then he got 3-4 people sent him to us, okay, and I had a Zoom meeting. I was alone this side, and there were 13 of them, joint family, okay, uncle, aunt, parents, sister, and sister from US, okay, supposed to be like educated family and all. And and he told me just before the meeting that auntie, all this they are saying that they will brainwash me. So many of them, they will brainwash me that this is wrong, being gay and all. I said, oh good, you told me, that's a challenge for me. Now I'll see. Okay, who changes who? And meeting started, and it went on for 2 hours. And luckily, in between, that uncle only said, and uncle had taken him to that Baba, So uncle himself said that, कि नहीं बड़ा आप ऐसा सब बोल रहे हो, हम मानते नहीं. मैंने इसको एक बाबा के पास लेके गया था, उन्होंने बोला है कि 70-30% चांसेस है, 70% चांसेस है कि वो स्टेट बन जाएगा, and उनको पावर दिया. He only said, good. I was wondering, I was thinking, कि how will that topic come, So he only said. So I said, oh, अच्छा, okay, very good. आप एक काम कीजिए ना. Everybody understand Hindi here? Okay. So I said, Nicola, I'm sorry, I'll tell you after. Okay. Then I said कि आप एक काम कीजिए ना, quietly ना, शांति से. आप एक काम कीजिए. वैसे भी वो बाबा तो बहुत एक्सपर्ट है ना, तो आप आपके बच्चे से प्यार तो करते हो, तो आप एक काम कीजिए ना कि बाबा के पास जाइए. वो अकेला आपका बच्चा क्यों एक्सरसाइज करेगा एंड पाउडर खाएगा एंड ऑल दैट ना, आप भी उसको कंपनी दीजिए ना. आप बाबा के पास जाइए, उससे पाउडर लीजिए, आप वो स्ट्रेट बन जाएगा, आप वो होमोसेक्सुअल बन जाएंगे, तो दोनों कंपनी एक साथ में रहेगा, दोनों जो भी एक्सरसाइज करते हैं, एंड बाद में वो बाबा आपको फिर से स्ट्रेट बना देगा ना. So they were like, ऐसे सुन रहे हैं, मैं Zoom पे सब दिखते हैं ना एक साथ, एंड ऐसे सुन रहे, एंड दैट अंकल, आप क्या बात कर रहे हो, मैं स्ट्रेट हूँ, मैं हेटेरोसेक्सुअल हूँ, मैं तो कभी गे बन ही नहीं सकता हूँ. ऐसे ये तो मेरा आंसर है. कोई बाबा वाबा कोई कुछ नहीं कर सकता है, ना वो आपको गे बना सकता है ना आपके बच्चे को स्ट्रेट बना सकता है, तो ये सब छोड़ दीजिए। I mean, he was so ये and बस हो गया, उसके बाद भी मीटिंग खत्म हो गया। 15 मिनट के अंदर that boy, you know, he messaged me saying, आंटी आपने तो बहुत कमाल कर दिया। अंकल मेरे रूम में, जॉइंट फैमिली है ना, अंकल रूम में आए और उन्होंने गले लग के इतने रोए और मुझे सॉरी बोला और बोले वो सब बंद कर देना, वो कुछ नहीं चाहिए, वो सब फेंक देना, मैं तेरे साथ में हूँ। And then there is this mother, trans woman's mother, never accepted her at all, you know, so she was like so much like, you know, troubled, and you know, so she wanted support and she reached out to Sweekar. Okay, so and it was like when it started, you know, in the beginning when I was talking, I tried calling her. She was like, आप मुझे क्यों बार बार फोन करते हो, मुझे कुछ सुनना नहीं है, मुझे कुछ सुनना ही नहीं है, मेरा लड़का है वो हमेशा लड़का रहेगा, मैं उसको लड़की कभी बोलूँगी नहीं। I'm like, okay, I'm HR, so I'm used to, you know, I mean people say like my employees also sometimes not now, in the beginning when I started, when I joined this company, they used to like, मैडम आपको क्या समझ में आता है? I'm like, हाँ, okay, I just look at them like, हाँ, अच्छा, okay, तू समझा, you know, it's like that. So for me, I know, and then all those used to be like जेल में रहने वाले कैदी सब एकदम पूरे सब एकदम ये हो गए हैं मेरे एम्प्लॉय, तो ये मदर क्यों नहीं होगी ना, तो and for me like कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता है। Okay, I used to give my message to her and it went on for like 3, 4, 5 times, and then you know it became then slowly started listening, you know. It's like, you know, I used to tell her that, you know, your family is your family, you know, koi na log hai na log, people are there to, you know, her relatives used to brainwash her whenever she used to listen to me, acha ye theek hai, and then when she used to go there, acha wo theek hai, you know, it used to be like that. And then, you know, I used to say that, you know, people will tell you, when you go to them and you cry, you know, you treat yourself like a victim, na, they will, वो चालू हो जाते हैं ना advice देना, ये गलत है वो गलत है, and see गलत and सही कौन decide करेगा? मेरे लिए जो गलत है उसके लिए सही है, and जो उनके लिए जो गलत है वो मेरे लिए सही, मतलब हर एक का definition अलग है. So that is how, you know, and then she became so inclusive and accepting that she herself went with daughter, and then she started saying that this is my daughter and her name is this, and then she went with her for like all that PAN card, Aadhaar card, the legal documents were changing, and then whenever you know, the relatives used to call for an event, you know, or whatever festival or anything, she used to say that, you know, and they used to say that you only come, don't call your son, you know, he behaves like a woman, na? So, and then she started saying that if you call my daughter also, then only I will come, otherwise I will not come. The total acceptance came.
I think it's narratives like these that build the thing. Aruna auntie is also a very good storyteller, you know, so you keep listening to her the whole day. So Nilakshi auntie, who is again one of the Renvas, so she has written something, and my mother had something. My mother is a very shy person, but my house is practically like a dharamshala most of the time. I don't know when I come home which LGBT spectrum say who will be at home that she has given, that she has just spoken to. She has more queer friends on Instagram and in all places than me myself. So there will be times when I come here and she'll tell me, you know, this person who has gone through this struggle, he's coming home and he's sharing the bedroom with you. So I said, is that a date that you're fixing? I said, so I think that there are a lot of people, there are a lot of these narratives which are hidden. There is every story that needs to be told. So I remember this one time that my mother, not able to be present today, she had this, there was this religious family who, this child had reached out to my mother and said that I need to come out and I need my father to accept me. And that's why it becomes so important that fathers are present, because that's considered to be, I think victims of patriarchy sometimes are men themselves. Okay, so
I see him to be in Sweekar.
yeah. So one of the things that my mother, so the father picked up the phone and kept screaming all kinds of galis in different languages. And my mother was there, and this was the first time that I was on the call with my mother on the line, and that boy's father on the line. So after the whole thing, I wanted to tell sorry to my mother that she went through this, and I just went to tell her sorry, and then she said, I think she kept, and the person banged the phone on my mother, and my mother just looked at me, I think we need to make 4 or 5 more calls to them, and that's when the person will change a little. And I looked and I had all tears, because this was the mother who found it difficult to accept my sexuality at some point. And at a time when there weren't queer people, like the visibility was not as much as we did.
Yeah, so here I want to mention, like now you said, it happens with me also, when I'm talking to parents, fathers especially, they'll say, रुको मैं ना अभी पुलिस को कंप्लेंट करता हूँ आपके बारे में कि आप है ना हमारे बच्चों को बिगाड़ते हो, आई एम ओवर द फोन एंड दे आर, अच्छा ठीक है, मैंने फोन होल्ड किया है, करो आप फोन, करो, चालू रखा है, दूसरे फोन से करो, मैं देखती हूँ पुलिस आके आपको पकड़ता है कि मुझे पकड़ता है, और ये सब धमकियों से तो मैं कभी भी नहीं डरती, मैं ना डरने वाली हूँ, ऐसा होता है,
Yeah. So I think it's important that we have these struggles. I just have a message from Nilakshi Aunty. A few words from me, Nilakshi Roy, as Sweekar parent. Thank you, Canadian Embassy, for hosting us. About the Canadian Embassy, I must say that you have been a great ally in Mumbai. You have funded and continue to fund many social activities. Sweekar hopes to continue working with you in this area. Even in other contexts, social, cultural and legal, you have taken great strides for the community in your own country. Dear friends, in their OK to be Me page, Canada informs LGBTQ people about the laws existing in Canada which apply to them. Same-sex relationships and sexual activity are not a crime. Same-sex marriages are legal and honored with rights, pensions, benefits, etc. Same-sex couples and LGBTQ individuals may adopt children. LGBTQ people can serve in the military and be open about their sexuality and gender. Discrimination and hate speech against LGBTQ people by an employer is illegal. Transgender people can change their name and legal gender. Some of these laws have already been implemented in India, and we are happy that some are being implemented one by one, state by state, step by step. We are sure, with the support of activist friends and our allies in our country as well as all over the world, including those in Canada, we can make India and Indian families coin new definitions of what is family in rainbow colors. Thanks, and I'm sorry that I couldn't be present there to be a part of this event today. Be the best, all the best for all our future journeys, gay, straight, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, intersex, and all those genders and sexualities which are getting discovered and which are not named till today. Thank you so much. So, if anyone would have any questions to ask, anything to share, anything personal, we'll take another 5 minutes of those before we call it a day. And we have to be cognizant of the fact that we have come here for films, enjoying films.
Yeah.
So we shouldn't be keeping people away from
If they don't
cinema.
have question, I'll just say about Sweekar, why we started Sweekar was, this is what, since then, it's been 15 years, children were reaching out, and we were separately, like Padma was doing, like some children used to reach out to Padma, it used to be like a separately. Then we thought, when we said, evening schedule, during that time, Sridhar said that all kinds of groups are there, there are Gay Movement, Humsafar, and many like Yariya and all groups are there, but where it happens that when children come out, parents go into shame. They need support. They need support to understand what their children are talking about, and they are not comfortable with their own children. So they need support. Now parents like us who are sailing in the same boat can support also and understand also. So that is how Sridhar thought that let us come together and form group like this. Parents, there will be only parents. We get forms, filling children also feel informed, uncle, aunts, grandparents also feel informed, but we have strictly only parents in our group, and that helps because they are comfortable in talking to each other, and it is important that immediate parents acceptance is required. After that, if parents will accept, everybody will accept automatically. They have to accept, after that. And
So,
even if they don't accept, it doesn't make any difference, right? Parents acceptance is important.
I think for all the children out here, I think it's important to accept yourself first. The first coming out should be to yourself, and then you can call people to come in, So first come out to yourself and then come and get people in. And parents usually are the first to come in the circle. But yes, if you don't find acceptance, you should understand that you have parents of choice, you have Sweekar parents, you have other parents, you have families of choice, sometimes which are stronger, which live in different cohorts. You have families of choice in every city, every country, in every state, in every gully and kucha as well. So I think it's important to acknowledge that. Okay, can we have any questions?
Can I add something?
Yeah.
We give a lot of kudos to the younger generation, and my personal journey, I've traveled around India, and I think they're great hope. But I wanted to share something. I live in London. We have a next door neighbor from Goa, originally from Goa. She's 90 years old. We were very conservative, very traditional, and Nicola and I used to be very fearful of her reaction. So we would just be
Best friends.
Best friends. We were best friends with her for 10 years. Interestingly, one day she just called me and said, there's somebody who wants to do something at the supermarket. I think you will know what is the best thing to do. And they're talking about those colors, rainbow colors. So she was trying to tell us that she accepts us. Interestingly, 2 weeks ago was her 90th birthday. She invited us. She invited all her very close family. Her children came from all around the world. At the table, Nicola and I were sitting right next to her. She gave us the place of her daughters. And she told everybody that these are her 2 daughters and they are together. That was beautiful. Her father, one of her sons, shared later that his son is gay as well, who's 18 or 19, is gay as well. And he was sitting with auntie, and the father was telling the mother, I haven't told you, but he was telling his son is gay. And she looked at him and she said, I knew that from a long time ago. And I think this is what it is.
Right.
We cannot make excuses for our older generation not to accept us because they were not aware. I think everybody is aware. It's basically about showing respect and empathy and just saying it's okay to be who you are. If we don't do it at our age, then when will we do it? So I think we have hope, not only from the younger generation, but from our elders.
Alpana wants to add something.
Yeah, so actually, this is something that I'd like to share with all the children here. Okay, I have 2 kids, 21 and 15-year-olds, and I always tell them that look, there is no training that we have for parenting. Okay, we just learn it by instinct. But I want to tell here LGBTQ children here that there is a training program for the parents of LGBTQ and it's called Prabal. So the Humsafar Trust has now 2nd edition of Prabal running. So we did a 6-month program, 8 hours every Sunday. That was in the year 2019. We had wonderful Sweekar parents. It was a practical training, a lot of fun. I think we learned a lot. 6 sessions which is talking about sex, gender, sexuality, how to cope up with social pressure, learning about your self-care, mental health, learning about your child's sexual health and how to deal with those questions that you have on your mind, legal rights as well as families of choice, relationships and families of choice. Now due to COVID, we are doing this online, this Prabal session. Yeah, so in fact it's culminating on the 6th. This session is, this is ending. The program is ending. So what I want to suggest here is that though there is no training program for parenting as such, but for the children of LGBTQ
Parents of
LGBTQ children, we have curated this program and we try to do our level best to consciously work topic by topic so that there is a better acceptance. And my mother-in-law is 77, and my mother is 80, and my father-in-law is 82, and my kids, my family, they are very strong allies of the LGBTQ children and the community, and my mothers are standing solidly behind, because they said that this is something हमारी generation को ये समझ में भी नहीं आता था, we don't know, हमें तो मालूम ही नहीं था, तो हमें खुशी है कि हमारे views बदले हैं और कुछ कर रहे हैं हम जिससे शायद समाज बदलेगा. So let us be very hopeful for the future. We may not be Canada, but it will always be one step at a time in India. So please sign up your parents with Sweekar group.
Yes.
And Aruna, we've done it after 3 years.
Yeah.
Right?
Like
Now, if there are more
2019
parents, after 2019, we are doing it in 2022. If there are more parents
We'll do it
interested,
again.
Yeah,
we do it again.
do it again.
Or maybe we'll just make e-modules. But I think interactive sessions
No,
are a lot
interactive
better.
sessions.
is always better. Yeah.
Interactive sessions
Because
are a lot
and
better.
nobody reads it, you know. If
Yeah.
you give that like that, nobody reads
To
it.
my-
When it is interactive.
To my mother, when she sits on that, so I can hear all those things, and it's a good thing. When mummies ko, your parents must have troubled you saying that, padhai karo, get them to do padhai now.
So one parent, we had said one parent had asked in trouble session 1, saying, if my child has a sexually transmitted infection, how should I deal with it? So I said, आपके बच्चे को बचपन में जुकाम आता था तो आप क्या करते थे? मैं कंसर्न होता था और मैं बोलता था चलो डॉक्टर के यहाँ चलते हैं. तो हमने यही कहा कि आपको आके बच्चे के साथ आपका कॉन्वर्सेशन इतना ही नॉर्मल होना चाहिए. सेक्सुअली ट्रांसमिटेड इन्फेक्शन है, कोई बात नहीं, लेट्स गो एंड सी ए डॉक्टर. So we have to normalize this conversation, including, and let me tell you that I have all kinds of discussions with my kids, with my in-laws sitting on that dining table. So that's how I think we want to create a world, and please make your parents sign the support group. All these parents are doing great job.
And I have to say that, you have researchers who come and do research and they this thing. Somebody who lives that research, because of that's Alpana.
Yeah.
Somebody who lives.
Humsafar Trust. I mean, we hope all of us at Humsafar Trust.
All and one of the people, I don't know if I should call myself Mama or should I call myself Chitti. Today Shruta has given birth to the next hopefully queer edition to this thing. We all have decided that the child is gay when the child is born itself. So
we are right now calling him assigned male at birth.
Assigned male at birth.
Yeah, assigned male at birth. So we don't want to gender conform Chuka's baby.
So yeah.
So my name is Rishikesh. I'm 23 years old. I'm non-binary transgender. I pronounce it they and she. So I have been put through conversion therapy twice by my parents. Once it was to psychiatrist, once to a hypnotist in Pune. So I have a question for Ram actually. So my mother is over the years somehow gotten used to me dressing up, being myself. She let you do it, but not at home. Don't dress up at home and leave the house that way. But my father has a issue with him making eye contact with me for about 5 years now, and it's been difficult because he has an issue mostly about what his friends say, what his relatives would say, and neighbors. Because I have posted my picture on Facebook and Instagram, and these platforms are public, like professional, so people have come up to him and put a picture, what is his son doing, what is his daddy and what is all of this. So, how did you deal with these questions, about your child, about from friends especially, from neighbors and relatives, very major questions, very aggressive questions. How do you deal with it? How do you have the conversation? Because in mothers, it's a little more empathy.
It was difficult initially, but then it was a slow acceptance. Because you were not aware of so many things. It's a learning for us also.
It's the main.
It took a little while, but now it's.
And acceptance is a journey. It's not a. Acceptance is a journey for all of us. We realize Like I didn't know I was gender fluid till I was 40. Okay, we hear of so many people who, what's their name? 𝙍𝙬𝙀 came out as 𝙍𝙬𝙀 at what, 35 or something. So Bruce, Caitlyn Jenner was very popular as Bruce Jenner, but became came up with their own identity as Caitlyn Jenner at some point. So I think that when we ourselves are in the process of transition, which is happening to our own bodies, we take so much time to accept, understand things that are happening with our bodies, and even trans and non-binary people. I know of people who came out as heterosexual and then they came out as this thing. It's a journey. The only thing is that we determine where we are there in that journey, not somebody else. And we don't use that as an argument most of the time, because people think that if your journey can be there, then you can come back to your original self, right? So people often use that as a distinct. So we don't say that often, but it's a journey. It's a spectrum, and I guess that it's a great deal of patience that one needs also. I always say that the onus of inclusion lies on those who are included, not on those who are excluded. But yes, that patience is definitely needed. It's a journey. It might take months, it might take years. Nicola, you wanted to say something? Yeah.
You have to push for law change. I've seen my country, New Zealand, change. They had exactly the same colonial law, 377. It got overturned. Then the law change came in that you are not allowed by law to discriminate against race, religion, sexuality, you name it. You're not allowed to. Now that doesn't mean that there's people there that are that are homophobic or anything like that. But because the law changed, the country's acceptance changed. It's like, okay, just let it be. And then law filters down to like hospitals, healthcare, schooling, all of that, and all of those things change. Wording, as you said, all of those things change because the laws change. So we're trying to still push this law here in India. Just push for law change.
Yes.
Law change is where it starts.
Yes. And that makes a lot of change. Even in the Supreme Court, when they were hearing different petitions, narratives is what really moved. It was not these America mein kya law change kiya, Canada mein kya law change kiya, not that. The narratives, the individual narratives is what changed.
We as Sweekar also have written letter to requesting for same-sex marriage to be allowed. We as parents also feel that there should be same-sex marriage, and that letter, when it will be read, God knows.
I think even for people who argue that marriage is a patriarchal institution, it should not be confined. Still, the option should be available to everybody. So to everybody. I mean, why should heterosexual people suffer or enjoy alone? So
this is a different perspective. I mean, we're talking about parents, and I think some of you all know my parents, and they've met. I mean, they're no more. But I've been in a relationship with my partner for past 20 years. He's a neurologist, I'm a journalist, and we both took care of our parents, that is his parents when they grew old, and my parents when they grew old and they were alive. And our parents accepted us, and that was one of the best things, I think, that a parent can do to a child. That was one. And I'm a little overwhelmed, and because when my mother, she was ill, and during the end of life care, once she actually sat down and she said, it's easy to be born in a biological family, but you have the privilege to choose a family of your choice. And even when she passed away, whatever little she had, some cotton sari, some perfume which she had collected in whatever little savings of her lifetime, she left all of those not to my siblings or anybody, but for some of the friends whom she had made. We're friends, most of them. And I think that was a beautiful thing, to learn from this whole thing. And that is my little story. I mean, is that.
Thank you so much. So with that, we have 𝙤𝙤𝙀𝙀. 𝙤𝙤𝙀 is one of the founding members of several things, including Sweekar. So we both are the honorary parents. That's what. Nirakshi auntie called us at one point. So Sridhar, we are drawing it to a close, but we just wanted to have your views on Sweekar. Good that you came in, and formally close this session.
I don't know what all you have discussed, but Sweekar
has discussed a lot about sex.
Very interesting session.
So Sweekar has been a beautiful experience. I've seen it grow from a very small group to now a pan-India and many global members too, you know. And they're all out of front. And what I like about them is like they're all parents of LGBTQIA plus the entire spectrum of parents are there. And also I would say, also like they speak different languages, which is fantastic for me. If any parent wants counseling in Hindi, Marathi, Bengali, Punjabi, any of the languages, all of them are there. And that's beautiful, and they've been constantly chit-chatting on the WhatsApp. So I exit the WhatsApp group because they're really talking so much. So it's a beautiful community, and I hope they grow much more and they have chapters across India. That's the next dream. Where
You already have
yeah, you only have Pune and Delhi.
Pune, Delhi, Hyderabad, Kolkata, Nagpur.
So I think, yeah, I mean, we started with this dream of facilitating the parents to kind of go formulate a group and basically talk to each other, and that's really happening, and they're really, I think it's a beautiful group and more power to them. So we'll do a group picture.
We'll do a group picture, and then let's also thank Liberty Cinema.
Yeah.